Well, you're here because you filled out a survey about a guy and he scored a C. In many important ways, this guy is falling short. Welcome to the Strong Brew, where you get answers to questions you're not supposed to ask. These are some things you may want to know about the man in your life. If you do really well in your career, will he become insecure? Will he try and use money to control you? Will he share housework or just make you do it all? In fights, when he gets angry, does he get aggressive? During intimacy, does he understand that no means no? Is he jealous, suspicious, or possessive? Will his attitude towards you change after having kids? Will he treat your parents with respect? What if you have conflicts with his parents? We tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. These are things nobody else will tell you, things that are important for your future. This is a safe space for truth. No judgment, no platitudes, no login, no payment either. Our questions are from real life, but our answers come from science. Now, I built this thing, me and my husband, and honestly, we built it and we live it. We are both Stanford grads, we both have worked at Google, and we've been happily together since 1998. Along the way, we've added a son, now 13, and 4 dogs. We are genuine folks. If you're a woman trying to understand any man in your life, here is how it works. Go to www.thestrongbrew.life. Click on the Understand a Guy button there. Answer 10 questions about him. Watch a video tailored to your guy. That's all there is to it. It is completely anonymous, no login, no payment, no games, no manipulation. This analysis is obtained by combining solid trait psychology with cutting edge AI ML. We represent each person's personality with what is known as a feature vector. This has 10 elements, so our data is effectively 10 dimensional data. In case you're wondering how we can infer so much from just 10 questions, well, 10 dimensional data is very complex. There is a lot you can learn from that level of detail.
Okay, I think that does it for the preamble. Now let's plunge in. Let's start with this guy in his career. Will he go far or just talk big?
He is unlikely to go very far in his career, even if he talks about big plans. He may have the brain power and some hardworking moments, but when things don't go smoothly, he tends to pull away instead of facing the problem head on. He may say the right things and be polite to everyone, but real action and steady progress are missing.
Can he bounce back from failure?
When problems show up at work, he's more likely to break down than bounce back. He can get upset quickly if things don't go his way, and instead of standing up for himself or fixing the issue, he might withdraw and avoid dealing with it. If you want someone who can handle stress and push through tough times, he might not be the ideal choice.
What do people at work think of him? Do they like him?
People at work usually find him polite and easy to get along with since he avoids fights and rarely argues. He isn't the type to pick quarrels or create drama. In fact, he's careful not to upset anyone and keeps his opinions to himself even if he disagrees.
If you do really well in your career, will he become insecure?
If you shine in your career, he may not show strong jealousy, but he probably won't be very vocal about feeling proud either. He keeps his feelings to himself and isn't the type to celebrate loudly. Don't expect big cheers or bold support from him.
What if you start earning more than him?
If you earn more than him, he could feel insecure deep down, even though he won't talk about it or show it openly. He's likely to keep his worries and doubts to himself, staying quiet rather than expressing any jealousy or resentment. Instead of arguing or trying to compete, he may pull away and become more distant, spending more time by himself.
Next, let's talk about how he is with money. Does he overspend? Is he reckless with money?
He is generally careful with money, not someone who spends wildly or on impulse. He tends to think things over before making a purchase and avoids taking big financial risks. If problems come up, he might feel anxious and withdraw, rather than talk things out or make confident choices.
Does he show off and pretend to be richer than he is?
He lives a life he can realistically afford and doesn't put on a show or try to impress others with flashy things. He is not the kind to spend money just to keep up with others, and he would rather be safe and simple than take financial risks or fake success. If anything, he may sometimes worry too much about spending and avoid fun or new experiences because of fear about money.
Is he too generous, too stingy, or just right?
He is more on the cautious and reserved side, both with his money and his feelings. He doesn't easily open up or go out of his way to give, even to those close to him. In the same way, he may find it difficult to show warmth or big acts of kindness, preferring small, polite gestures instead.
Will he use money to try and control you?
He is not controlling about money, but he is also not very open or talkative. He tends to keep things to himself, including worries or details about his finances. This isn't because he's hiding anything bad, it's just his way to avoid conflict and keep peace.
Let's see how this guy is with sharing housework. Will he share housework or just make you do it?
He is unlikely to argue that housework is only your job, but he also might not take much initiative on his own. He tends to avoid conflict, so he won't insist or demand that you do everything. He is polite and will usually do his part if asked directly, but don't expect him to lead the way.
Will he help you or just boss you around and tell you what to do?
He is willing to help with chores and even with diapers, but he usually waits for you to tell him exactly what needs to be done. He won't just sit back and supervise, but he's also not the type who jumps in on his own or notices what needs to be done first. So he can be a good helper, but only if you don't mind guiding him along the way.
Now let's see about how this guy is during fights. In fights, does he try to understand your views or just win the fight?
He is not the type to argue just to prove he's right. In fact, he avoids arguments and conflict as much as possible. Instead, he may become withdrawn, keeping his thoughts to himself rather than discussing openly.
Does he become aggressive when angry?
When he's angry, he still remains respectful and doesn't lash out with hurtful words or aggressive actions. Instead of shouting or saying mean things, he is more likely to become quiet or keep his distance. He might shut down or leave the room to avoid an argument rather than express his anger openly.
Does he have a bad temper?
Yes, he does get angry quickly. He finds it hard to manage his emotions when things go wrong or feels stressful. But instead of blowing up, he withdraws, becomes silent, or leaves the situation. This isn't dramatic anger, but rather quiet frustration that builds up inside.
Will he say sorry and accept his mistakes?
He finds it difficult to say sorry or take responsibility right away. Instead of blaming you openly, he is more likely to stay quiet or avoid the topic altogether. If a problem comes up, he may keep his feelings inside and step back rather than talk through what went wrong.
Next, let's talk about intimacy and physical chemistry. During intimacy, does he respect your boundaries? Does he get that no means no?
Yes, he will respect your boundaries and understands that no truly means no. He is generally polite and careful not to overstep or cause discomfort. His respect for your limits is strong and he takes no seriously without making you feel guilty.
If you are not in the mood for intimacy, will he react badly?
Yes, he's likely to take it personally if you're not in the mood for intimacy. Even though he won't say anything out loud, he won't argue or complain, but you might notice he becomes quieter or pulls away a bit if you turn him down. He tends to keep his feelings to himself, so his hurt or disappointment shows up more in silence and distance rather than harsh words.
Can you trust him not to shame you or share your private moments, maybe love letters, photos, or videos, even after a breakup or a bad fight?
Yes, you can trust him to handle private moments with care. He is not the kind of person who would use your vulnerabilities or special memories against you, even during disagreements. With him, your trust is not likely to be broken in this way.
Is he loyal or is he likely to want to have affairs?
He is usually faithful and not easily distracted by other women. He tends to keep to himself and isn't very outgoing or flirtatious, so you're unlikely to find him chasing attention elsewhere. His focus is on keeping things steady, not chasing excitement with others.
Will he be jealous, suspicious, and try to control you?
No, he is not over possessive or controlling. He doesn't usually act jealous or keep a close watch on you. He's more likely to pull away if he feels unsure rather than try to control you or your actions.
This guy says he is protective in a good way. Is he actually just being possessive?
No, his protective side is not a sign of a controlling personality. In fact, he isn't very assertive or forceful and doesn't try to manage where you go or who you meet. Instead of acting like a boss or making rules, he usually stays to the background, avoiding fights or strong demands.
Now, onto the topic of kids and how this guy will be as a father. If you guys have kids, will he make you do most of the work?
He is likely to see parenting as your job unless you clearly ask for help or guide him to be involved. He won't argue or demand that you do everything, but he also won't take much initiative on his own. Teamwork with him usually needs gentle encouragement and clear communication.
Kids are very messy. Will he lose his temper with them?
When the kids mess up or get upset, he's not likely to lose his temper in a loud or harsh way, but he may get flustered or seem easily upset inside. Instead of shouting or being scary, he can become quiet, withdrawn, or visibly stressed. You'll probably have to help him learn how to stay steady and involved when things go wrong.
If you guys have kids, will he still support your career?
He will not stop you from being your own person or from following your interests, but he isn't the type to actively support or cheer you on either. He tends to keep to himself and avoids conflict, so he won't argue if you want to work or pursue hobbies. Sometimes he might even become less involved or withdrawn if you get busy with your own goals.
Will this man say one thing early on, maybe while dating, and then later after kids and marriage change his tune and try to make you give up your career?
No, he is not the kind of man who will cheer for your career now and then, suddenly ask you to quit once you have a child. Instead, he avoids conflict and big demands, so he is unlikely to put strong pressure on you about your choices. He may let you carry on as you wish, quietly staying in the background rather than getting involved in your decisions.
Next, let's see how this guy treats your parents. Will he be respectful with your parents?
He will act polite on the surface with your parents, but it's unlikely he will show real warmth or deep connection. He is careful not to offend and will speak respectfully, but he finds it hard to open up or bond emotionally, even with people close to you. While your parents may appreciate his good manners, they might also notice he keeps some distance and doesn't get very involved in family matters. He is more likely to quietly try to adjust to your family rather than expect them to change for him.
What if your family creates stress or interferes a bit in your lives?
If your family creates stress or interferes, he's unlikely to make things worse. He will mostly try to stay calm by keeping quiet or stepping back from the situation. He avoids direct conflict and won't argue or fuss, but he also may not step up to help you handle the problem. Instead, he will quietly withdraw, leaving you to manage the tension on your own.
Then let's analyze the role this guy's family will play in your life. Is this man modern with you but a completely different person when other people, say his parents or bosses, are around?
Yes, this is possible. While he may seem modern or easygoing with you alone, when it comes to his relatives, he is likely to expect you to behave in a more traditional way. He probably won't say this outright, but his quietness in family settings or gentle hints will make it clear.
If there is tension between you and his parents, will he support you?
If there's tension, he will most likely stay out of it rather than clearly supporting you or siding with his family. He dislikes conflict and feels uncomfortable taking sides, so he may become quiet or even step away, hoping the problem will just fade on its own. You might feel alone handling family issues as he rarely speaks up or shields you when things get tough.
Say you have a conflict with his mother, what will this guy do?
He is not strongly a mummy's boy in the sense of openly putting his mother ahead of you, but he also isn't likely to choose your side in a conflict with her. He avoids taking sides and dislikes confrontation. So instead of standing up for you or his mother, he will probably step back, stay silent, or hope the disagreement goes away. This can leave you feeling unsupported when issues come up.
Will he share all the private details of your relationship with his mother or sister?
He is not the type to share every detail of your fights or private life with his mother or sister. He tends to keep things to himself, especially personal or emotional matters. If there is a problem between you, he is more likely to stay quiet or withdraw rather than run to his family for advice or comfort.
Now let's zoom out and put it all together.
So that's the story. This guy scores a C. In many important ways, this guy is falling short of the standard we would want. Being in a relationship with this man will feel calm and settled on most days, but also quite lonely in some ways. He's polite, avoids fights, and won't bring drama home, so you won't be shouted at or insulted.